Your palm sweats as you grip your Zapper light gun. The outlaw's eyes flash. He yells fire, and suddenly you're in the middle of a Wild West shootout. Get the outlaw before he gets you and you'll win a reward. But watch out, the more you win, the tougher it becomes, because this gunman has got some very nasty friends. You can take on one outlaw, two outlaws, or the whole gang. Are you up to the action? Because it's fast and furious in this quick-on-the-trigger Nintendo light gun game. And this is Wild Gunman from Nintendo, released in 1985, one of the launch titles for the NES. And this is a light gun shooter, much like Duck Hunt was. You know, you shoot with a gun. The original version was one of the electromechanical arcade games created by Gunpei Yokoi and released in 1974. Wow. Consisted of a light gun connected to a 16mm projection screen. Full motion video footage of a Wild West gunslinger was projected onto the screen. When his eyes flashed, the player needed to draw and shoot, not just shoot. If the player was fast enough, the projection would change to that of the shot gunman falling down. Otherwise, it would show the gunman drawing and firing his gun. If the player won, they would face off against several more gunslinger options. The second version had a plastic gunman figure mounted on the top of a plastic battery box called Custom Gunman, which later became one of the microgames in the Game Boy Advance title WarioWare Inc. Mega Microgames. An updated video game version of the game, replacing photographic images with cartoon-style video game sprites, was released for the Famicom in '84 and the NES in '85. In this version, the player also waited for the opponent's eyes to flash, accompanied by the speech bubble reading "Fire" before shooting. It also featured a shooting gallery where opponents had to be shot from the windows of a saloon. A piece of Frédéric Chopin's Funeral March indicates the player's defeat. It was also available on the PlayChoice 10 arcade system as portrayed in the movie Back to the Future 2. The Famicom version for use with the Zapper peripheral was released in Japan the same year, and in the United States in '85. The Famicom version was also available packaged with a plastic Western-style revolver accessory modeled after the Colt single-action army that could be used instead of the Zapper. Experimental filmmaker Craig Baldwin made a 1978 short called Wild Gunman, and it features footage from the original 1974 game, re-edited, sped up, and slowed down to surreal effect. The game also appeared briefly as an arcade machine in Back to the Future 2. And how cool is this? This is a pretty good little game. It's obviously just kind of a one long mini game, kind of like Hogan's Alley, Duck Hunt, kind of along those lines. Gumshoe, remember Gumshoe? That one was a lot of fun. But you know, this one kind of didn't carry on as much as some of the others. But this was a lot of fun to play. Unfortunately, having done this on an emulator, I just left the mouse and just clicked and never really had to move. So not quite as fun emulated, but would be a lot of fun to play, I think, on an actual TV with a Zapper. Obviously, this is just a little timing game, which if you've played Kirby, you're probably familiar with this mechanic. This is pretty good. Really simple graphics. Music was all right. You know, just solid old NES fun.